Hey button pushers, my name is Nick and welcome to Macrotis, A Mother's Journey. I think it's pronounced Macrotis, Macroti. This is a game by Proud Dinosaur and EastAsiaSoft and came out, I want to say February 2019 for PC, but came out at the end of October for PS4 and Xbox One. And I was lucky enough to get a download code for the Xbox One version, so mwah, kisses, thank you very much. So what is A Mother's Journey? Well, let me tell you. So you are Mother Bilby, mother to three, one of them who has just been born. And it's said in Bilby lore, Bilby tradition, don't know how far it extends, we'll go with Bilby lore, that if it's raining when your child is born, then it's good luck. However, this rain just so happens to be part of what it turns out is basically an apocalyptic level hurricane. So, not so much. With the rain coming down, the water levels rising, all the animals decide to scurry on out, because that's a sensible thing to do. Mother Bilby and the Bilbies, they can't, because they have a newborn, it would be too dangerous to travel, so they decide to stick it out, and the predictable happens, and their underground house floods. And they are swept away, and Mother Nature, I mean, they take a break from being a dick for 1 minute and save the children, but in doing so, Mother Bilby swept away. So she gets to see her kids are safe, but she is swept off.
While the struggling mother felt a small amount of relief in the knowledge of her children's relative safety, she was dragged under the ground by the deadly flood.
So Mother Bilby, alone, separated from her family, and now in an underground cave, has to find her way back home. It's also kind of not an ideal situation if you've just had a baby. I mean, for the baby or the mother, really. There's no good side to this coin. So Mother Bilby is going to have to figure out how to make her way through the caves, back up to her family. First, anyway, things soon become a bit more complicated for her when she meets the wizard, who, you know, she may or may not have been responsible for the death of. Let's not worry about the semantics just now. Either way, there was a wizard. We crossed paths. They, in some peculiar turn of events, ended up dead. Now, Mother Bilby, accompanied by the spirit of the wizard, not only has to worry about returning to her family, but also helping the wizard actually stopping the rain, which is what he was trying to do in the first place before some completely unrelated and unfortunate events happened to him. It's a lot of pressure for tiny fuzzy shoulders, really, isn't it? So the game is split into 4 different chapters. 2 of them take place in the underground cave system. One of them is just you by yourself, one of them while you have the wizard and his magic. The other 2 take place in underground ruins of what was once dwelled by the little people, because apparently there's a trademark on the word dwarves, because you can call them little people as much as you want. The people in these caves, they were 100% dwarves. I have seen enough fantasy things to know dwarves when I see them, damn it. As you go through the game, there's a natural escalation to the puzzles and the gameplay mechanics, and that is handled actually pretty damn well. It feels like there's a steady flow of new things kind of thrown at you as you go, so it stops the game feeling repetitive. Even the magic from the wizard is kind of drip-fed through, and that is actually explained pretty well in-game by the characters having a little chat. Also, something that did not go unnoticed, there's always a certain plot hole that crops up in things when magic's involved. So why can't you just use magic to solve all your problems? I mean, it's a valid question, but this is answered actually perfectly by the wizard and Mother Bilby having a chat in the game. I appreciated it a lot. It was very well done.
Why can't we teleport to my kids directly?
My magic is not that kind of magic, unfortunately. Even if it were, I would need to be familiar with their location to teleport to them.
You could at least get us above ground somewhere.
Correct. However, it would not be pleasant to find ourselves in the rising flood, would it?
Couldn't you make me breathe underwater?
If you do not wish to continue your life as a fish, then I would not.
Okay, I got it.
So the puzzles themselves have a nice variety to them, especially with new elements that come in. You start off obviously just jumping and gnawing your way through ropes to drop down rocks to create platforms, but as soon as you meet the wizard, things get flipped on their head. Soon you can create a little ghost form that is able to phase through walls up until the point where you can actually generate your own walls, just pop them straight out of the ground, which is actually very, very useful. So with the different gameplay elements as well as the different style of puzzles, everything kind of chugs on at a nice pace. There are, obviously, towards the end of the game, it gets a little convoluted at times, so I'm not going to lie, some of the puzzles are a pain in the arse. If you mess up like at the last step and have to just restart the whole section, then you've got loads to kind of backtrack, which is a bit annoying. And to further make you feel like a worthless sack of crap, if you do need to restart a section, then you have to watch Mother Bilby break down and cry, because how dare you? The different areas that the game takes you to all work really well with the puzzles, and everything makes sense. Like, I mean, as far as a game about a magical rodent can actually make sense. When you're in the cave levels, you've got to deal with, you know, rocks, vines, trunks, the occasional turtle. Whereas when you're in the area that belong to the little people, then it's a lot more kind of intricate and involved. There's lifts, there's traps, there's levers. It's clever. I appreciated that. It was nice to have, like, it made the areas feel more whole and more complete. There's also actually a really strong use of water physics throughout the game, which I wasn't expecting. It ranges, so some of them you drop like a big rock in the water to raise the water level somewhere else. A puzzle later on in the game has you, kind of, there's 2 tanks of water, and you've got to like fill one and then make it smaller so the water level raises. It's cool. It's definitely not the longest game in the world, and I don't particularly count myself as someone who is particularly good at puzzle games. I'm not the worst, but I tend to do things a little slower and make stupid mistakes a lot. But it took me just under 4.5 hours to complete the game start to finish. But considering the price tag it's got going is about £10, that's not too bad. But what it lacks in kind of length, it makes up for in storytelling. It even made me a touch emotional at the end of it. Wasn't prepared for that at all. Also, a massive shout out to Mallory Eckelmeyer and Andy Mack, because they're the only 2 voices in the game, and they've done very well. I like their voice acting a lot. And also to have a platformer like this, which is fully voice acted, it's nice, because so many games just don't have voice acting, or have voice acting for the cutscenes and then it's just text. So having a full voice acted story was just... So, just going to round this off with 3 good things, 3 not so good things. So first off, the good things. The environments, they all looked incredible, and there's a huge amount of detail in the backgrounds, especially in the later levels, but even like in the earlier forest levels, there's a lot of stuff to take in, and there's also an arachnophobia mode, funnily enough. So if you go to settings, turn on arachnophobia, then there's no big spiders in the forest levels, which unexpected, a little bit random, sure, but nice touch. So, number 2, story, it's cute, and it's heartfelt, and the voice acting is great. I enjoyed it a lot. And number 3, the new gameplay mechanics are kind of dripped through to you at a good pace, so you don't ever feel overwhelmed with all these different controls you've got to learn, but at the same time the game doesn't feel repetitive. It's a good balance. So, the bad stuff. Number 1, definitely could have been a bit longer. There could have been a bit more to it. I liked the story as it was, but it could have done with being made longer. 2, and this is really just an irk for me personally, there's collectibles in the game, but there's no achievement for collecting them. In the Xbox version anyway. I'm not sure about Steam or PS4, but come on. Why would you do that? Finally, as I've said already, some of the puzzles in the end, they're just a tad too long, convoluted. And this might be because I was playing the game in one bulk sitting as well, and I was just kind of getting burnt out on the longer puzzles, but I personally felt that some of them could have done with shortened a little bit or made slightly less convoluted. So, all in all, if you're a fan of puzzle games, platformers, or child abandonment, then there's something here that you're almost certainly going to love. And £10 price tag, it's not bad. This is definitely one that's worth checking out. So, if you do want to check this out for yourself, then the link to the Xbox page is in the description. Obviously, it's also available on PC and PS4. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then why don't you go ahead and hit the like button. The apocalyptic rain that is the subscribe button. Make sure you... bad boy. And until next time, love you, bye.